Hi, my name is Jerome Ortega. I've been with Hard Lens Media for about 2 years now, and I'll be honest, I'm still learning a lot about politics. I have questions, and who better than my team to help me out answer them? This is Understanding Politics with Jerome Ortega. A lot of it has to do with perception, right? So when I watched that first hour, every time Bloomberg had something to say, you would hear the audience cheer, or you'd hear a small section, but they would cheer loudly. And part of me is like, do they really care what he has to say, or are they being planted in there? Now here's the question. This is why I was asking, do you think an audience is necessary? Do you really think that there should be an audience in there, or do you think they should just have that debate, put it on air, on the internet or whatever, and then have people, listen and figure out who their candidate should be?
Yes and no. Yes and no for either there being an audience and just being just the candidates up there. One thing, there's always presentation, who the candidates are able to impress the most. Now, in order to do that, make sure there's an equal balance. You got to make sure that seats don't cost $1,750.
Oh, yeah,
but
right.
I mean, Americans, I think, as who we are spectators, and we love to hear the roar of the crowd. I mean, that's something that people like to hear, and I want to know which one of the people are gravitating towards. Now, the thing is, thank God we have the internet, because, people hearing Bloomberg speak and compare that to the last time he did a debate, I mean, it was like night and day. Something was amiss, especially after how Sanders and Warren both embarrassed him in the previous debate, and yet somehow he was getting thunderous applause in this most recent debate. And then on the other hand, maybe it's good to actually hear the candidates actually speak, not only for 1 minute, but actually give them 30 minutes to speak. Like, for example, when Sanders brought that up to Joe Rogan in his interview, in other countries, candidates that are running for office have a larger time to really speak their policies to a much wider audience, not to not to a huge crowd, but actually them speaking directly to the camera or them speaking directly online.
Right.
And then in that way, they're able to explain their policies with enough detail so that people can then determine, okay, well, I watched through this 40-minute video. I like this candidate. I mean, give or take, but I'm sitting down watching this. So it's so yes and no. I mean, I'm kind of for it for an audience, and I'm also for a no audience too. I mean, it really depends, but we got to find that ground.
So let me take that in a very similar way. So my answer would be, it's not necessary, but it enhances it when it's done correctly. It's like a garnish on a really well-made dish. Yeah. It's nice. It's nice when it's good, and it's really bad when it's overdone. So as an example, you can look at previous debates when there is an audience. A lot of times what they'll do is they'll say, don't make any noise during the debate. You can make a noise when we're hitting commercial break. You can make noise at the end, but you can't say anything during the actual discussion.
Interesting.
And that has push and pull factors in there as well. But I really think that the thing that's important is, if the audience should only be making noise when it's a diverse group of people. Now, how hard is that to enforce?
Right.
Because if you're doing it, can you really go through and you go, okay, raise your hand if you're black. Okay, I'm going to write that down. If you're Asian, then Hispanic, white. Okay, we need 5 black people to leave, and we need to get 2 Asian. That's an issue that you may have to deal with if you go down that path. Because if you're really going to do that, you have to really go to an nth teen level to do it. But at the same time, it's, people are altered by what they hear. I mean, that's why laugh tracks are on sitcoms.
Right. No, yeah.
It's so it will affect people. Is it good? Maybe, maybe not. I think that if you're going to go on, I think that err on the side of not having an audience, or at least have the audience not say anything.
And to add into that, because when we were starting in the old studio, we did cover some debates where the audience was basically told, don't make any noises, and we saw that enforced.
There you go.
But yet, compared to this one, it was like a complete disaster, like you said before.
Because even on this with Bloomberg, I feel like even people that might only be watching, I don't know how many people were watching for the first time, but I feel like even the people that were like, what's up with this audience?
Yeah.
That's
how I felt watching it. So
even when Sanders said, "Really, you're against people from getting illiteracy?" I'm pretty sure anyone, even if you don't like Sanders, even if you're like a Biden supporter or people who just, you're like, well, wait, I'm for people being more literate. What?
From CBS's point of view, the dumpster fire is wonderful. It's profitable, even. Because if they have people fighting, they have sound clips to talk about later. That's what I was saying at the beginning. The true problem is the push and pull factors. CBS wants to make money off this. The candidates want to get voters without giving anything up of themselves. And they're all trained to work in a system where everyone gets their way.
Yeah, that's sad. And that kind of makes me think about the audience question I had. And it's kind of like, yeah, they probably wouldn't want to get rid of the audience because it adds a little spice to the entire debate. So instead of giving actual like good information, good, like having everyone speak, the audience kind of just it's like watching a fight, right? It's like getting pay-per-view for the night or whatever. And it's sad that it
But
runs
see, the
that
thing
way.
is now everyone's learning about the price of a ticket to be an audience member. And at the end of the day, none of us in this room have a spare $1,750.
You don't?
No, I don't.
I would have gone easily right here.
Oh, really? Wow. Imaginary monopoly money. I mean, the thing is, no one has that kind of money,
Yeah.
and you got to make it accessible for people, which is why the internet, everyone was able to really call it out. Like, something's wrong with this audience.
Right.
It doesn't make sense. It's like a laugh track for the Big Bang Theory. That show is not funny, but yet, ha 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 ha. What am I
agree.
laughing
I
at?
agree.
Yeah, just yeah, exactly. It makes no sense.